Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 11 starts now.
I wouldn't wish this on nobody.
A family tragedy. 2 boys and a little girl killed in a fire. And now the boy's mother is just hours away from learning whether she will stand trial for what happened.
I don't even hate her. I don't hate her. I just want justice served for my grandkids, you know, and so their death wouldn't go in vain.
As the budget battle rages in Lansing, tonight a local sheriff wants the public to know how the cuts are affecting his deputies and how they patrol the streets.
But we begin with another wet night across Metro Detroit. But unlike last night, it definitely feels like fall tonight.
No doubt, as we come to you here at the 11 o'clock hour, temperatures in the 50s, Ben, and wet. A far cry from yesterday's record highs.
Yeah, huge difference. And we're finally getting some extended dry spots here on 4 Live radar. And you saw that larger picture we let in with. This is going to continue for a while. But unfortunately, it looks like that rain's going to come back just in time for the morning commute. Here's 4 a.m. and we'll start to see the showers move in. Everything we've seen so far tonight has been fairly light, but you can see that those showers may be a little bit more intense in spots right through the morning commute, and just about everybody's going to see a little something from this right through the 9 o'clock hour, especially the Metro and South Zone, which really hasn't seen a whole lot in the way of wet weather in the last 48 hours. Here's a look at the temperatures as we will stay right around the mid-50s through that morning commute and then head towards 60 at lunchtime. Not a lot of sunshine here and still could see some patchy fog. We'll tell you how the rest of the week shapes up and whether the weekend will look any nicer. All coming up in a few minutes, Kim.
Okay, Ben. Tonight, the family of 2 boys killed in a house fire in East Point talking to Local 4 for the first time since their tragic deaths. Police say the boys, along with a little girl, were home alone when they died in that fire back in March of last year. 28-year-old Amber Renee Swain is the boy's mother. She's charged with 3 counts of second-degree child abuse. Larry Spruill talked to the boys' grandparents tonight, and Larry joins us live in East Point with more on this story. Larry, good evening.
Good evening, Kimberly. Now, the grandparents are speaking for the very first time since their grandsons were killed in a house fire right here in East Point. Now, I was out here in March of last year, and it was a very difficult time for everyone. As a matter of fact, the family members say they can't even drive by this area because it's just too difficult. Tonight, that house is no longer here. The family simply wants justice for their grandsons.
Actually, I thought I was dreaming. She called me had to be about 4-something in the morning.
It's a phone call Brenda Mosley remembers more than a year and a half later. Mosley told me Amber Swain called her saying her house was on fire.
Woke him up, we jumped up and we just drove, we get around there, the fire, the house is burning. We looking at the house burning. With her grandsons Brendan and Zaire and their little cousin Madison inside. The whole living room floor was caved in. Staircase was caved in. But they tried all they could to save them.
To see that and just to be there, man, I can't explain it, man. It's just, it's deep. We stayed, we watched them stay until they brought the bodies out. Fast forward more than a year and a half later, police charged the boy's mother, Amber Renee Swain, with 3 counts of second-degree child abuse for her connection with the deadly 2018 fire. Police say she left the children home alone when the fire engulfed the house. If the professionals say that you were gone 4 hours, but you immediately said you was only gone maybe an hour, well, this would have never happened. We wouldn't be here now. Swain will face a judge Thursday morning.
She has to be held accountable for her actions, but the evidence is there. If they hadn't been left alone, they would still be here.
And the Mosleys say they will be in court first thing tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. Meanwhile, Swain will face a judge for a pretrial conference at the Circuit Court of Mount Clemens, also at 9 o'clock in the morning. We're live in East Point tonight. Larry Spruill, Local 4.
And we will be following any new developments. Okay, Larry, thanks.
We're the hostage. That's Oakland County Sheriff Mike Bouchard's take on where law enforcement stands in the ongoing budget battle between Governor Whitmer and the Republican-controlled legislature. We bring in Mara McDonald, who is live in Pontiac tonight. Mara, we of course reported on this unprecedented 147 line item vetoes of the governor in the budget. Sheriff Bouchard is counting the ones that have affected him.
Exactly, Devin. You know, we've heard about some of those big ticket item vetoes like the Pure Michigan campaign or money for roads. But what Bouchard is saying that in those vetoes, there are real issues for county sheriff's departments. Take a listen.
We're the hostage in this situation, and she shot the hostage. It's still concerning to me how we become part of this back and forth.
The back and forth between Governor Whitmer and the GOP-run legislature. Whitmer, who called the budgets the legislature presented her with a mess and then pulled out her veto powers, slashed hard, including 3 funding sources for county sheriff's departments: secondary road patrols, law enforcement training, and county jail reimbursement.
If a Republican had vetoed this, I'd be right up in their grill too. Bad policy by anybody's bad policy.
Whitmer's vetoes are a strategy move to try and get the legislature to wheel and deal on issues like a road funding fix. And so far, the GOP leadership says it's uninterested in rushing into discussions about supplemental budgets to undo some of these vetoes.
How the police of this whole state got dragged in to fix the roads is still kind of curious to me. I don't see that.
Back here live. So now what? Well, Sheriff Bouchard says expect the governor to get a letter from a consortium of sheriffs about how these vetoes are really causing them a problem. While Lansing doesn't appear to be in the mood to do anything about it immediately, watch for your local units of government to try and maneuver around in the interim. We're live in Pontiac tonight. I'm Mara McDonald, Local 4.
Exactly right. Start watching how the gears turn. All right, Mara.
Well, tonight the Associated Press is reporting General Motors' latest offer to the UAW was rejected because it did not give temporary workers a clear path to full-time jobs. Sources tell the AP the contract offer includes wage increases or lump sum payments in all 4 years, but the offer was rejected in part because it takes money from other places to fund profit sharing. With talks over for the night, the strike will head into day 19. Meanwhile, tomorrow, Democratic presidential candidate Senator Kamala Harris will join the picket line with striking workers in Reno, Nevada.
Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib not backing down from her criticism of Detroit's facial recognition software, telling Chief James Craig she feels like only black analysts should be reviewing the cases.
Analysts need to be African Americans, not people that are not. Because let me tell you, no, it happens all the time.
Okay.
It's true.
Okay.
I mean, I think non-African Americans think African Americans all look the same.
You could sense the pushback there from the chief. Those comments were captured in a video of the Detroit News while the Congresswoman was touring the city's real-time crime center. But after that tour, our Sandra Ali talked with both the Congresswoman and the chief about whether they've had any change of heart when it comes to how to use this controversial technology.
Did it ever make you rethink your staffing in the last?
Not one bit. I am very comfortable. The people that I have working in that real-time crime center who are professionals.
I wish that Chief Craig takes it seriously that he has flawed, broken technology that can't identify African Americans. He needs to recognize that facial recognition is racist.
Well, after months of heated debate, of course, last month the Detroit Board of Police Commissioners approved the use of the technology by a vote of 8-3.
A former Hamtramck school employee accused of sexually assaulting a student with special needs is scheduled to appear in court tomorrow. 37-year-old Ibrahim Al-Jahim, who was a former community liaison officer for Oakland International Academy, is accused of sexually assaulting an 18-year-old student. Investigators are looking to see if there could be more victims.
Michigan state health officials are confirming a 79-year-old man from Battle Creek has died from what has become known now as Triple E. Stan Zollner is now the 4th person to fall victim to the deadly mosquito-borne disease. The man's family believes he may have been bitten sometime in August. So far, 9 cases of Triple E have been confirmed in Michigan, resulting in 4 deaths. A pesticide aerial spray to combat the disease is planned for tomorrow in Washtenaw County, but that will be weather permitting.
Still to come, it is not just your imagination. Drive-thrus are getting slower.
We'll have a look at what researchers say is causing the longer wait times when it comes to what's supposed to be fast food.
And the deadly dog mauling of a 9-year-old Southwest Detroit girl is heading to trial new tonight. The emotional testimony from a witness who saw the entire attack.
I don't know if this is possible, but can I give her a hug, please?
A former police officer sentenced to prison for murdering a man inside his apartment. What happened immediately after her sentencing left the courtroom speechless. Next.
The ads, they're all over social media, Instagram, Facebook, products that claim they can make you look younger. But do they really work? Help me, Hank, with the ultimate product test tomorrow starting at 6 a.m.
Tomorrow at 5, a vicious stabbing
With kind of my last bit of strength, dialed 911.
that left